The weight of the mountain. My name is T'Challa, son of T'Chaka, King of Wakanda, the Black Panther. These are my titles. They are hung around my neck like jewels of vibranium, heavy and cold. They are meant to define me, but titles are just stories others tell about you. I want to tell you my own. I want you to understand the man, not the myth. Because the myth is clean. It is simple. The man is not. I speak to you now not from a throne, but from a quiet place in my own heart. A place where the crown does not sit, and the mask is put away. Here, I am only T'Challa, a son who loved his father, a brother who adores his sister, a man who has made mistakes that cost lives. My story begins with a sound, the sound of my father's laughter. It was a deep, warm sound, like the earth after a rain. It filled the halls of our palace. He was more than a king to me. He was the Sunday. Everything in my world turned to face him. He taught me about our ancestors, about the first panther, Bashenga, who was guided to the heart-shaped herb by the goddess Bast. He told me, a king's duty, my son, is to his people, only his people. He believed this with every part of his soul. To protect Wakanda, we hid. We possessed wonders beyond the world's imagination, a metal that could reshape civilization, and we kept it secret. We watched the world burn, we watched it struggle, and we did nothing. We called it wisdom, we called it preservation. I believed him. How could I not? He was my father, he was my king. I trained my whole life to be him, to be a good man like he was, to be a great king like he was. I learned the feel of a spear in my hand, the languages of the world on my tongue. I prepared myself for a burden I thought was decades away. Then came another sound, an explosion, in Vienna. In one moment, my world was silenced. The sun went out. My father was gone. There was no time to mourn as a son. The nation needed a king. The mantle needed a panther. Grief is a strange thing. It makes you hollow, but the ritual fills you back up. To become the Black Panther, you must first be stripped of its power. You must be made weak, vulnerable. You drink the nectar that takes the strength of the herb away, and you face any challenger, tribe by tribe. It is our way. To prove you are worthy not because of a gift, but because of your own spirit. I won my challenges. I earned my throne. Then, I was taken to the place of the dead, the Jalia, the ancestral plane. I drank of the heart-shaped herb, and my body was filled with fire and lightning. And I saw him, my father. He stood there under the purple twilight, just as I remembered him. Strong, proud. He told me I was ready, that I was a good son. I felt his pride wash over me, and it healed a part of my broken heart. In that moment, I was home. I was certain of my path. I would be just like him. I would protect our borders. I would keep our secrets. I would be a good king. What a fool I was. A child listening to a ghost. A king's first duty is to the truth, and the truth of my father's reign was a lie, a shadow, a secret he buried deep in the dirt of a foreign land. The secret had a name. Najarika. My uncle, Anjobu, my father's own brother, saw the suffering of our people around the world. He wanted to use our technology, our weapons, to free them, to empower them. My father saw this as a betrayal. He went to America. There was a confrontation, a mistake, and my uncle was left dead on the floor of a small apartment. But he did not die alone. He had a son, a little boy, my cousin, my own blood, and my father, the great King T'Chaka, the man I worshipped, left him there, an orphan, a Wakandan child, abandoned in a world that would teach him nothing but hate and anger. He left him with a legacy of pain, and he erased the entire story. He came home and told no one. He lied to his friends, to his queen, to me. Finding this out, it was like the world breaking a second time. My father wasn't the Sunday. He was a man who made a terrible, fearful choice. He chose the safety of Wakanda over the life of one small boy. He created a monster out of grief, and that monster came home. When I first saw Eric Killmonger, I did not see a villain. I saw a mirror. I saw the rage in his eyes, a fire that had been burning for 20 years. A fire my father had lit. He walked into my court, a body from our past, and he spoke a truth that cut deeper than any spear. He spoke of our hypocrisy, of how we sat on a mountain of power while people who looked just like us suffered. He was not wrong. That is the hardest thing to admit. His methods were born of pain. His solution was violence and war. But the anger that drove him, that anger was righteous. It was an anger Wakanda had ignored for generations. He challenged me for the throne, and I accepted. I had to. It is our way. We fought by the waterfall. I fought for tradition. He fought for revolution. And he was stronger. He was hungrier. He had spent his entire life preparing for that one moment. I had spent my life in a palace. He defeated me. He broke me. And he threw me from the cliff into the water below. The last thing I remember is the roar of the falls and the feeling of failure. Not just my failure, but my father's, my grandfather's. The failure of every Black Panther who chose to hide. I should have died, but I was found by the Jabari, by M'Baku, a man who had challenged me, who rejected our ways. He saved me. He carried my broken body to his home in the mountains, and his people healed me. He did not have to. He could have let me perish and let the world burn. But he showed me what a true leader does. He protects his people, all of them, even the ones he disagrees with. My mother and sister found me there. They brought me the last of the heart-shaped herb. I took it, and I went back to the ancestral plane. But this time, I did not want to see my father. I was angry. I was lost. I stood before all of them, the kings of our past. I told them they were wrong, that they had lived in fear, that their legacy of isolation had led us to this, that their pride had created the man who was now sitting on my throne, ready to send our weapons out into the world. They were silent, ghosts, memories. Their time was over, mine was now. I returned to my body with a new purpose, not just to reclaim my throne, but to correct the mistakes of my ancestors. To be a different kind of king. The fight for Wakanda was not just a battle of spears and ships. It was a battle for our soul. When I faced Killmonger again, in the heart of the Vibranium mine, I was not just fighting my cousin, I was fighting my father's ghost. I was fighting the part of myself that wanted to keep hiding, that was afraid of the world. We fought, panther against panther, brother against brother, and in the end, I won. But it was not a victory. I held him as he lay dying. He had seen so much of the world, but he had never seen the beauty of his own home. I took him to watch the sunset over Wakanda. The sky was on fire, painted with colors he had only dreamed of. He told me to bury him in the ocean with his ancestors who jumped from the ships because they knew death was better than bondage. In that moment, I did not see an enemy. I saw my family. I saw the pain we had caused. I saw the cost of our fear. And I knew with every fiber of my being that we could not hide anymore. So I did what my father never would have. I went to the world. I stood before them all, and I told them the truth. I opened our borders. I shared our knowledge. It was the most terrifying decision of my life, and the most important. My father was afraid of what the world would do to Wakanda. I was afraid of what Wakanda would become if we did nothing for the world. Killmonger showed me that. His rage was a gift, a terrible, painful gift, but it opened my eyes. And the world, it needed us, sooner than I could have ever imagined. A titan came from the stars. He came with a power to erase half of all life. And he came to Wakanda. We fought. We stood with our new allies. We held the line, but we lost. I remember the feeling. My sister, Shuri, calling my name. And then, nothing. Dust. A quiet, empty wind. For 5 years, I was gone. To me, it was a moment, a blink. But, for the universe, it was an age of sorrow. When I came back, the grief was everywhere. We had won. We had brought everyone back. But the scars remained. The world was different. I was different. I have learned that being a king is not about being right. It is about doing what is right, even when it is hard, even when you are afraid. It is not about protecting a legacy. It is about building a better one. My father was a good man. He loved his people, but his love was a cage, a beautiful, golden cage. I had to break it. For all of us, I still carry the weight of my ancestors, the weight of my father's choices, the weight of Killmonger's pain. It is the mountain on my back, but I no longer carry it alone. I carry it with my sister, whose mind will build our future, with my mother, whose wisdom guides my heart, with my people, whose strength is now shared with the world. I am T'Challa, son of T'Chaka, King of Wakanda. I am the Black Panther, and my watch is not over. It has only just begun.